What's up, y'all? I sure enough hope y'all can hear me because my voice is shot. And I've been trying to save my voice all morning because once again, I'm watching the Breakfast Club and I got ticked off. And this is the same ticked off that I had earlier this week, but it's only intensified. Yeah. Now, did y'all see the Breakfast Club interview with Steve Perry? I don't know this guy. I don't know who he is. I don't know nothing about him. But what I do know is that it seemed like Charlemagne and Envy bought this guy in to discredit or change the narrative to what Dr. Carl Hart was saying earlier in the week. That's how I feel about it. Like I said, I don't know nothing about Steve Perry, but I never, in my history of watching The Breakfast Club, I never seen them bring in somebody else so quickly to disprove somebody or to rebuttal somebody. And to me, that was a problem. That made me look at The Breakfast Club as oppressive. Yes, I know that's a strong word, but the reason I say it makes The Breakfast Club seem oppressive is because they're only saying there's one way to think. At least that's what I took out of it. I don't know what you took out of it, but for the whole interview, you heard this guy, Steve Perry, talking about how he relate to the hood. He relate to these areas of life. And they kept throwing that comparison like Carl Hart come from a place of privilege because he teach at Harvard or Columbia, wherever he taught at. I don't know. But to me, it was saying like people on the lower economic scale can't think a certain way. Or he's saying that those problems don't relate to the people on the lower economic scale. And it may not, but you got to think about it. We always talking about black and brown. All black people not in the lower economic scale. You have rich black people too. So my whole way of thinking was, y'all bought Carl Hart on the show already knowing what his narrative was or what the narrative was supposed to be. You brought him on this show. You really didn't hear him out. It was only one of y'all, and that was Angela Yee. And I never been as proud as I was of Angela Yee on these last couple episodes because she stuck to her guns today. She been saying the same thing she said on Carl Hart interview as she did with Steve Perry, but they really didn't want to hear what she had to say about it. They were still trying to say, like, he doing heroin. Angela Yee, I believe, her disposition was overall. Because one time she said, we talking about drugs, but we got liquor on the wall. People don't look at liquor as a drug, but it is. You can get addicted to alcohol. Yeah. Then they talk about legal and illegal. You get what I'm saying? And that's the thing too. You could tell somebody, don't do drugs, don't do drugs, don't do drugs. Do that mean they ain't gonna do it? You see these cigarette commercials every day when they had a lady talking about how what the effects of cigarette could do, but people still smoke. But the narrative is out. If you could get one person not to smoke, you're doing your job. So with Carl Hart, it's like he's saying, yeah, he might have a drug problem, but what he's saying too is, if I could get you to be safer while doing it. I think they took his whole narrative and directed it to the way they wanted to go. And when they brought this guy Stephen Perry on here, he was just a piggyback. I don't know his credibility. I don't know what this dude do. I don't know nothing about him. But why bring in somebody else to discredit or disprove somebody else when what the man Carl Hart was saying wasn't even like, I'm promoting this. He said, I'm making it awareness. But y'all trying to disprove awareness? Like, I'm totally in shock because I never saw them in my whole time of watching The Breakfast Club bring somebody else on that quick. Now, I could be wrong. Let me know. But this guy, Steve Perry, he didn't do nothing for me. When I went and watched the interview last week with Carl Hart, I didn't necessarily want to say, oh, I'm finna do heroin because it's safe. That's not going to affect me because I don't do heroin. I don't do drugs. See what I'm saying? But if he have that one person that he could get through, he probably could change their mindset, and that could cause a ripple effect. It probably can help things become safer. It probably will even encourage somebody not to do it. But y'all say y'all want this whole narrative be don't do drugs, like people ain't gonna do it. And then you saying you don't want people. Oh, Envy had the nerve to say they have children that listen to their platform. They have young adults that listen to their platform. I listen to your platform every morning, and I have to get ready to turn the channel because y'all talking about sex. Y'all openly talk about that, and you openly do homosexual jokes too. Why is that not as bad? You see what I'm saying? I just feel like that was hypocritical. If you're going to have an open platform to everybody, let it be open to everybody. But don't disprove what you don't like. And don't sit here and be so naive as to like people not going to do drugs. I don't want my kids hearing about drugs. Okay, well, guess what? Your kid's going to be exposed to drugs anyway. Somebody going to say something to them anyway. And what you going to say? Because and he said that I don't want to tell. They kept comparing like how the dude was, Carl Hart was comparing sex to drugs. I didn't quite get that analogy either, but I was listening. But what I'm saying is, if your kids come to you and say, "Hey, I was introduced to drugs. I think I'm going to try marijuana." What you gonna tell your kids? Don't do it? Yeah, you can tell them don't do it, but does that mean they ain't gonna do it? No, I'm gonna give them all the pointers. I'm gonna let them know I'm disappointed. Don't want you doing it, but if you do it safe. You do it. You don't smoke nothing that's rolled. I'm gonna give them all the information because I can't be with them 24/7. I'm not gonna be able to stop everything they do. Just like me when I was a kid. I'm not gonna be as naive not to give my kids information on what to do. I'm not gonna encourage it. But at least I could give some information that if, in the case they do go out there and try something, they know what to and what not to do. Now, you agree with that or not, that's just how I take it. But to Steve Perry defense, he did in some areas take up with Carl Hart. He did in some areas. But it was like Charlamagne and Envy only wanted to hear one thing. Don't tell people to do heroin. Okay, we could do that. Don't do heroin. That ain't gonna stop nobody. They still gonna do it if they won't do it. I don't know. I just found it funny that they brought this guy on there to rebuttal what Carl Hart said or to jump on their side to kind of defeat Carl Hart. I just felt it was funny. And I felt it was oppressive. Because y'all saying, if you poor, this is the only way you could think. This is the only way you could think. So what happened when one of those kids make it out the ghetto? What happened when one of them kids become that rose growing through the concrete? What direction do he have then? Because they kept using this saying, he's speaking from a place of privilege. Everybody on that Breakfast Club, probably rich. All the faces we see, that's a place of privilege too. So your place of privilege is, we only gonna keep y'all thinking this way because y'all really never gonna get nowhere else. You see what I'm saying? Why couldn't Carl Hart be a tool just in case one of these people grow up to make it somewhere and the thing happen, they get on drugs? You don't never know where life gonna take you. You get what I'm saying? Now, I'm not saying I want that to happen, but If you get somewhere and you faced with a situation and you have a safer way of doing something, let it be a safer way of doing it. That's all I'm saying. And I really do hope nobody don't get on drugs. I hope nobody don't get addicted to anything because addiction is not fun. Yeah, I have kin folks who overdosed recently, and I'm wondering like, dang, I wish that wouldn't have happened. I wish you wouldn't have been doing that. No, I'm not saying I want nobody to be on drugs. I ain't saying I want somebody to be a functional addict, but people are going to be addicts. It's just the way of the world. But my real thing is, just because you don't see one thing one way, don't mean the whole world got to see it like that. And you shouldn't force your opinions on others. That's it. I ain't gonna beat the dead horse too much, but I wanted to get that off my chest. And excuse my voice because it's gone, it's shot. But hey, I appreciate y'all dropping some comments in the comment section. Let me know what you're thinking. Peace.